So the narcissistic bully at work, they love to provoke you. You can barely count on a narcissist to train you at work. You can barely count on them to help you at work. You can barely count on them to be anyone that you can trust or go to with any real issues because they never seem to have solutions. What the narcissist actually does is constantly have problems with you. This is most likely because you threaten them in some way, and they don't like to be threatened or one-upped. And it could be anything about you that threatens the narcissist. And once you unknowingly threaten the narcissist or knowingly threaten, whatever the case may be, they have to come after you. So you can guarantee that they're plotting and planning your downfall. So they're either going to do this covertly or overtly, depending on the situation, depending on who they report to, depending on how toxic the overall culture of the workplace is. Sometimes the narcissistic bully at work is just downright openly rude to you, and sometimes they are extremely complimentary of you just to mirror the sentiment of their superiors. So what I mean by that is the narcissist may be extremely rude to you or condescending. That's a big one that they like to do, is be condescending to you. And then if you ever accuse them of anything, they act like they have no idea what you're talking about because they love working with you. And they'll tell you that they love working with you, but their actions seem to indicate otherwise. So whether or not the narcissist can be openly rude to you, they will try to provoke you. And like I said, this may happen overtly or covertly. Most of the time it's been covertly towards me because in my workplace situations, it would not have been allowed for the narcissist to be openly rude or openly abusive. So in my case, the narcissist would be constantly on my case, but telling me that I was a great employee, that I did great work, but also just constantly nitpicking every single thing that I did. By being complimentary, it creates a false sense of security, especially if you don't know any better and you take them for face value. Also, by being overly nitpicky at the same time, that creates a feeling of uncertainty in the employee. The narcissist is hoping to create someone that trusts them, but also comes to them with questions and issues and wants to please the narcissist. And in the beginning, the narcissist is trying to figure you out. So they will test you. They'll test your empathy. They will test you by lying to you about things, by telling you that you did something wrong, or by misleading you in some way to see if you'll actually take the bait, to see if you actually know better. It's crazy to me how much they'll actually lie about a work issue. They will just straight up lie about something very serious at work that you can easily catch them in. And I believe they do this to test you to see how combative you're going to be. And also they lie and mislead so much to the people that they are threatened by that if you pointed out every single lie and every single time they misled you or gave you the wrong information, there's no way that you would actually be believed. The narcissist is so good at convincing the people that they need to convince, the CEOs, the people that run human resources, that they are the perfect employee. And now in some cases, human resources and the CEOs, they're all narcissists. So in some cases, they are all in on it. Regardless, you're never going to be able to call out the narcissist at work. So the phrase pick your battles really applies here. And my advice is just to not even try to confront the narcissist about lies. And it's really sad because if you have a narcissist that's in charge of training you, you're not going to get trained. You're going to have to train yourself. So basically what they'll do is they will just constantly be shooting poison arrows at you. And poison arrows is a term that I like to use because I feel it's really an accurate description of what exactly they're trying to do to you. They are trying to weaken you by constantly wounding you. And these very small wounds or, small insults or small things that they say, they have a cumulative effect eventually. But if you take my advice, you'll be able to tell when this is happening. And what the best thing to do is to just completely ignore the narcissist. So let them see that you are not going to be someone who reacts to every single thing that they say. And at this point, they may leave you alone and move on to another target who they might perceive to be more threatening to them. Or they might amp up their abuse. It depends on the situation. So just keep in your mind that you want to just remain a pleasant person to deal with. You want to remain a pleasant employee. You want to always be seen as agreeable. And in order to do that, you're just going to have to play stupid a lot because you have this narcissist who's constantly telling you that you're doing everything wrong. And you're not doing everything wrong. But in order to get along and in order to function under the narcissist, if that's even possible, you're just going to have to pretend like you completely agree with everything that they say and that you're not disagreeable to them. This is not to say that you actually have to agree with everything that they say, but in order to keep your paycheck and in order to avoid constantly getting into it with a narcissist, you're just going to do what you have to do. It also helps to start building a file and especially print out important emails with a narcissist, especially if they're telling you something that you know is incorrect or something that you feel is untrue or is misleading in some way. Just keep a file on your computer, and you can, act like you are a type of person who really likes to make notes and you just want to be sure because you want to document this for your notes. So how do you deal with the day-to-day harassment of the narcissist? So the day-to-day, everyday interaction with the narcissist, to deal with the poison arrows, just gray rock the poison arrows. So the narcissist will say things to you that are critical, and they may point things out to you. If the narcissist is not specifically demanding an action, like that you correct something immediately, then don't respond to it. They seem to want to make you feel as if you are not being understood and that you need to explain yourself. So in situations like that where they are misunderstanding that you actually did something correct, just don't even feel the need to explain that you actually did it correctly. Don't feel the need to explain or defend yourself, because if you do that, then you're giving them things to use against you. If the narcissist can get you to justify, argue, or defend or explain yourself, then they are winning, and that is exactly what they're trying to do. You want to save your energy and your mental energy for things that are actually important and not give them your power. So you're keeping your power by remaining composed and remaining calm and just accepting that the narcissist is someone that's just going to constantly be unhappy, constantly be wanting to make you feel unstable. And this sort of also tricks the narcissist into thinking that you are not going to be a threat to them. So they are not going to have to really stay on you as much. So it works in your favor because you'll be sort of flying under the radar. So just to summarize this video, the narcissist will provoke you so that you react, and they will constantly provoke you so that you will constantly react, and then they can point the finger at you and you become the problem. Unfortunately, in the workplace, it seems like if you have problems, then you become the problem. We are all human, and if you're here, then you're most likely a very sensitive person who's had issues like this in the past, and who's felt misunderstood and frustrated at work, and who's felt like things were unfair. And it's fine to point out injustices and point out when someone does something wrong to you, but the narcissist takes this to a completely different level, and they do not play fair. It's almost like boxing. You have to let them wear themselves out. And as always, I'm always going to recommend that you leave a toxic workplace and find a better one. But for many of us, that's not possible, or that's not immediately possible. You have to learn how to cope and work with a narcissist. So hopefully I've given you some insight and some actual real life techniques that you can put into practice.